today, but she sent this over, and she said, Lisa and I became friends just over 20 years ago when we met at work. Not long after that, I met Jeff and the rest of the Billingsley family. 10 years later, I found myself singing in a band. Female friends share stories about our lives and families. We get to know each other's children and husbands through these conversations before we ever actually meet them. So when I met Jeff, it was no surprise to find him to be tall, smart, boisterous, and maybe a little intimidating. He could carry on a conversation about anything from international politics to local sports, from cooking to any genre of music. I once saw him have a long discussion about the game of cricket with a family of mine visiting from India. Honestly, what American knows that much about cricket? And God help you if you faced him on an opposing Trivial Pursuit team. Jeff was playing drums with the Swinging Stem Cells when Lisa invited me to come hear the band at Hair the Frog in Grand Rapids. They were great fun. Going to his gigs got to be a regular thing, continuing when he started to play with Peace on Mars. He was a great musician and threw his heart into each musical opportunity. Years ago at a house party for Jeff's birthday, some of Jeff's musical friends were jamming and a friend suggested I sing along. I said no thanks, seeing myself as a shy nerd with a church lady voice, but Jeff found out maybe I could sing. He asked me about it a few times in the months that followed, so one day I sent a clip of myself singing so he would understand that I wasn't so much a band singer. He disagreed and talked me into sitting in on some rehearsals with him and Jim Hallberg. Before long, we were performing together throughout the Muskegon area. Late last week, Facebook shared the memory of Jeff's post about the first rehearsal I had with him and Jim 9 years ago. Each of our comments were full of excitement about how fun it had been and looking forward to the next rehearsal. Literally every rehearsal together was so much fun, with Jeff always bringing new ideas and energy, Jim always willing to try new music, me happy to sing along, and band manager Lisa telling us when we hit on something she really liked. The years I sang with Jeff and Jim were when I got to know Jeff better. I learned how creative and passionate he was about music, how focused he was on anything new he was learning about, how deeply he loved Lisa, the woman. I heard the tone of love and pride in his voice when talking about his children and grandchildren, and I learned to appreciate his patented dry sense of humor. I never heard that Jeff had a natural ability as a mentor, yet somehow I ended up in a band where he encouraged me, told me when I was pitchy, and willingly performed in public with me while I learned to overcome paralyzing stage fright. I could never thank him enough for that, and for his friendship, and for giving me my voice. Like each of you, I miss Jeff and can't believe he's gone. I was lucky to count him among my friends. His intellect, strong opinions, sense of humor, and interest in everything are evident in his children and grandchildren. I'm glad you have each other to share stories about Jeff to keep his memory alive. I'm happy to hear those stories and memories anytime and to share some.